Welcome to this deep dive. Today we're really diving deep into champion thinking.
Oh, I think this is going to be a fascinating one. It's not just another book about sports.
Right. It's about mindset, which we can all relate to. And I'm really curious about what Mundie Simon, the author, has to say.
Well, he's got quite the unique perspective on success, especially coming from his background as a BBC sports reporter.
Okay, now that piques my interest. How so?
So Simon talks about, covering these major sporting events, Wimbledon finals, the works, and feeling like something was off.
Like he was in the midst of all the excitement, but still feeling a lack.
Depth. Exactly.
Yeah.
He even mentions being at a Nadal-Federer match. Can you imagine the intensity?
Oh, absolutely. The electricity in the air must have been incredible.
But even then, he felt this disconnect, like he was there, but not really present.
So he was going through the motions, even at Wimbledon. Wow, that's a powerful realization.
It was a turning point for him, actually, and it really underpins the whole message of champion thinking. That chasing external validation, the wins, the recognition can actually make us miss out on the present moment.
The very place where we should be finding fulfillment. Right.
Exactly. And he's so passionate about this that he even started a podcast, the Life Lessons podcast, to explore it further.
And that actually used to be called Don't Tell Me the Score.
Yes. How ironic is that?
Talk about hitting the nail on the head. It's like we're so fixated on the scoreboard that we forget to enjoy the game itself.
100%. And that obsession with results can really distort our view of success, leading us to idolize athletes and put them on pedestals.
Right, like they've got it all figured out just because they're winning trophies.
And Simon uses Will Carling, the former England rugby captain, to illustrate this point.
Ah, Darling Carling, as the media love to call him.
Exactly. Simon even told this funny story about Carling appearing on Noel Edmonds' house party. Remember that show?
Oh, yeah, with Mr. Blobby. I vaguely remember that.
So Carling's there, at the height of his fame, and Mr. Blobby playfully attacks him.
Oh, I have to see this. It sounds hilarious, but also kind of poignant in a way.
It is. It highlights the absurdity of fame, but it also reveals a deeper point Simon's making.
And what's that?
That we often project this idealized image onto successful people, assuming their accomplishments equal inner peace.
But that's rarely the case, is it?
Right. Simon's reminding us that everyone, even champion athletes, have their own battles.
Everyone has hitting struggles. It's a good reality check.
And speaking of struggles, Simon doesn't shy away from discussing the mental health challenges many athletes face.
Yeah, and it's something we need to talk about more openly.
He does it with such sensitivity, too. Like, he talks about John Kirwan, a legend in rugby.
Kirwan, yeah. I remember watching him play.
During the 1991 Rugby World Cup, he had debilitating anxiety attacks. Can you imagine?
Wow. You would never have known from the outside. He always seemed so in control on the field.
That's the thing about mental health, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't discriminate. Kirwan was terrified to seek help initially because of the stigma.
Especially in that environment where vulnerability can be seen as weakness.
Exactly. Imagine carrying the weight of a nation's expectations on your shoulders.
It's a lot of pressure. So how did Kirwan deal with that?
He eventually did seek help and embarked on what he calls his journey to wellness.
It's inspiring to hear him talk about it so openly.
It really emphasizes that self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. We could all learn from that, don't you think?
Absolutely. And sometimes that journey to becoming a champion, in whatever form that takes, well, it involves a complete transformation.
Oh, you're talking about John McAvoy, right?
Yes, his story is incredible.
From armed robber to elite athlete. Now that's a transformation.
It's wild. I'm still wrapping my head around it, to be honest.
Pretty remarkable. While he was in prison, he had this epiphany.
What happened?
He realized he'd been chasing fulfillment in all the wrong places.
Chasing that external validation, probably.
Exactly. And he turned to fitness as an outlet, a positive way to channel his energy.
So he found a new outlet for his, drive and ambition. But was it really about athletic achievements at that point, or was it something more?
That's just it. It became about something much bigger. He realized that his true legacy wouldn't be about winning races.
Oh, interesting. So what was it about then?
Inspiring others, he started sharing his story.
Wow. So he went from external validation through crime to internal fulfillment through helping others.
Exactly. It's powerful stuff.
It is. And speaking of we, it's like this theme of collective purpose runs through the whole book. Simon even uses Team GB at the 2016 Rio Olympics to illustrate this, right?
Oh, absolutely. He talks about how this shared vision, this sense of purpose, can really elevate individual performance.
And he specifically focuses on the women's hockey team, right? They won the gold.
Their first ever Olympic gold. It was huge.
I remember watching it. It was such a powerful moment, but I never realized how much went into building that team spirit.
They were really intentional about it.
Yeah.
Their definition of we included everyone, not just the players on the field.
Oh, interesting. Who else?
The coaches, support staff, even those who didn't make the final cut.
Wow, that's amazing.
They even talk about future generations of hockey players.
So it was bigger than just them.
Way bigger. They were playing for something much larger than themselves.
I love that. But how do you even begin to cultivate that kind of unity, especially in such a high-pressure environment?
Well, vulnerability was key. Simon talks about how they had this no-holds-barred meeting.
What do you mean?
A safe space to air grievances, address any underlying tensions. It was about open and honest communication.
So instead of letting conflicts simmer beneath the surface, they face them head-on.
Exactly. And their coach, Danny Carey, he was instrumental in creating that culture.
What was his approach?
Well, he actually had to undergo his own kind of leadership evolution. He realized that his old way, which was very results-oriented, it wasn't fostering the connection he wanted within the team.
It's so easy to get caught up in just winning.
Right. But he realized that true leadership requires emotional intelligence.
I love that. So how did he start putting that into practice?
Well, he developed this 4-question checklist to help him stay focused on empathy and connection.
A checklist for emotional intelligence? Okay, I have to know. What's on it?
Okay, so first, where am I? Just checking in with his own emotional state.
Makes sense. What's next?
Where do I need to be so he can show up as his best self for the team?
Okay, I like that. What else?
Where are they? Meaning understanding his players' emotional states. And finally, where do they need to be so he can figure out how to support them?
Wow, that's amazing. Just those 4 questions create such a powerful framework for mindful leadership.
And not just in sports either, right?
Right, in any field.
Yeah.
By shifting the focus from me to we, it's like he helped his team unlock their true potential.
And it really proves that true success, it often comes from collaboration, from recognizing that we're all in this together.
But individual mindset, I mean, that plays a huge role too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Simon, he digs into this fascinating kind of dichotomy. Well, he explores the power of focus, but also the dangers of, overthinking.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
He uses Johnny Wilkinson as an example, the rugby legend. He was known for his dedication, his relentless practice regimen.
Oh, I remember those images of him practicing his kicks for hours on end.
Exactly. And while that unwavering focus, definitely contributed to his success,
It came at a cost.
he's talked about the immense pressure he felt. Like every mistake was magnified 1,000 times over.
Wow, I can't even imagine.
He actually said that during the 2003 Rugby World Cup final, he felt this sense of release.
Oh, interesting. What happened?
He was finally able to just play without overthinking. And ironically, that's when he delivered that iconic drop goal to win the game for England.
Wow. It's amazing how those moments of peak performance often come when we let go of that need to control everything. So what about this idea of a growth mindset? Simon dives into that too, right?
He does. He explores its potential, but also its limitations. He talks about Carol Dweck's work.
Oh yeah, she's the one who popularized the idea that believing in our ability to learn and grow, it's crucial for success.
Exactly. But Simon, he also brings in Timothy Bates's perspective. Bates is a psychologist who challenges the idea that simply adopting a growth mindset, like it's some magic bullet.
It's not that easy, is it?
Not quite. Bates argues that personality traits, individual differences, they also play a huge role.
Oh, okay. So it's more nuanced than just thinking positive and everything will fall into place.
Right. He uses Andy Murray and Gail Monfils as an example, both amazing tennis players.
But with totally different approaches to the game.
Exactly. Murray, the ultimate competitor, always striving, always pushing himself to improve.
And Monfils, the showman, playing with this incredible joy and freedom.
Exactly. And, Murray's dedication, it led him to Grand Slam victories.
But Monfils, he achieved a different kind of success.
Right. One marked by these moments of pure brilliance. His love for the game just shone through.
So it's about finding that balance, I guess, between pushing ourselves to improve, but also accepting our strengths and limitations.
Perfectly said. Simon reminds us there's no one-size-fits-all approach to success.
We have to figure out what works for us.
Exactly. And sometimes the most profound lessons, they come from the most unexpected places.
Like what, for example?
Simon even touches upon Caitlyn Jenner's journey.
From Olympic gold to her very public gender transition.
He points out how Jenner's athletic drive was, in part, fueled by this desire to overcome early childhood challenges.
Wow, that adds a whole other layer to her story. It's a good reminder that we often make assumptions about people.
Especially public figures.
Yeah.
We don't always see the full picture.
So true. So Jenner's story, it's just like all these other athletes in the book. They're all on these unique journeys.
Each grappling with their own internal battles.
In those battles, those moments of adversity, they can often lead to incredible growth.
100%. They can be the catalyst for profound self-discovery.
It's fascinating how Simon connects all these seemingly different stories. Athletes from various backgrounds facing unique challenges.
But they all speak to this universal human experience, don't they?
The search for meaning, the longing for fulfillment. So where does Simon ultimately land on this quest for fulfillment? What's the answer?
Well, a lot of athletes, even after they've reached, the top of their game,
They still feel like something's missing.
yeah, like what's next? Simon uses Emma Raducanu as a more recent example.
Oh, right. Her US Open win, it was incredible.
Totally. But that sudden fame, it came with its own struggles.
Yeah, the pressure on these young athletes is immense.
She even admitted that she started to question if she even wanted to win at all,
Wow. That's a lot to grapple with at such a young age.
It's like she tied her self-worth to her performance on the court.
So when she wasn't winning,
She felt lost, anxious.
that's a poignant reminder that even achieving our dreams doesn't magically erase our inner struggles.
Exactly. So how do we navigate those challenges then?
Right, like how do we find that lasting fulfillment, whether we're athletes or not?
This is where Simon introduces this concept of awareness.
Okay, tell me more.
So it's the idea that our true identity, it's not our thoughts, our feelings, even our achievements.
It's not. What is it then?
It's the awareness that's experiencing all of it.
Okay, I think I get it, but it's a bit abstract. How do we access that awareness?
Well, Simon, it gives this really simple technique.
I'm listening.
Just notice your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
Instead of getting swept away by them.
Exactly. Like those negative thoughts, I'm not good enough, I'm not successful enough. Just observe them.
Don't engage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Create some space between yourself and your thoughts.
So it's like we're not our thoughts, we're the awareness that's experiencing them.
Exactly. And that awareness, that sense of presence, it's key to finding true fulfillment.
It's like what we were talking about earlier, John Kirwan, John McAvoy. They found peace not through external achievements, but by really understanding themselves, confronting their inner struggles.
Yes. And connecting to something deeper, more meaningful than any trophy or title.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
And Simon, he leaves us with this powerful question. If you weren't defined by your accomplishments or failures, who would you be?
Wow. Now that's a question worth pondering. This has been such an insightful conversation, this deep dive into champion thinking.
It's definitely challenged my perspective on success.
Me too. We've explored the complexities of it all, the importance of vulnerability, self-awareness, and finding purpose beyond those external validations. It's a reminder that these lessons aren't just for athletes, they're for everyone.
Totally. No matter what we're striving for in life, those principles, they apply.
Absolutely. This book is a treasure trove of wisdom and inspiration, urging us to look beyond the scoreboard and truly define what it means to win in the game of life. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Remember, the most important journeys are often the ones we take within.